Okay, so this talk was alluded to in Rebecca's talk. Thank you for that. I will be going over some proposal preparation resources. And as you saw in her talk, there are many resources with many acronyms and tools available to assist you in your proposal submission journey. So I've highlighted a few here. There are a few that are required to be used, and then there are some that will only be used if it's specific to your science case. So I'm going to go over a lot of them today, and then some of them you'll want to explore more on your own. And because there are so many, I want to kind of take the process in and introduce these and how to use them as you're going through your proposal preparation process. So I kind of like to think of it in three chunks. The first part is to develop your strategy. This is when you're going to you develop your science idea and outline the observations. Then once you have that, you'll do feasibility checks and use the ETC to determine your observing parameters. And then finally, you'll specify those in the APT, in the astronomer's proposal tool, and then you'll submit. So I'm kind of, condensing this into three, large chunks, and they all have a lot of steps within that. But we are always here, as Rebecca mentioned, to get help throughout the process. You can always reach out to us. Let's see. Okay, so the first chunk is to develop your science idea and outline your strategy. So this is where you're going to be identifying your instruments and your observing modes that you'll need to address your science goal. So the first and number one resource to become familiar with is JDocs. That's the JWST documentation system. So throughout my talk, you'll see links highlighted in yellow, and all of those are links to the tools that I'm talking about. And you'll find those, you'll be able to click on all of those when these become public. So this is your starting guide, links to all the tools, where you can find out the observatory and instrument capabilities. And then once you determine that, all of the more nitty-gritty things, the operational details. Do you need target acquisition? Are you wanting to dither? What are your readout patterns? What's the wavelength range you're choosing? So those are all available in JDocs. And there's also late-breaking news in the call for proposal cycle 6 that I have highlighted here as well. So this is the main one. If you're brand new to JWST, is to really get oriented with this, and even if you're not new, to just make sure you know where to find things on JDocs. And there is a search bar that's done through Google that's pretty thorough, that you can search the JDocs website through as well. So I'd recommend you to use that when you maybe get a little bit lost. The other website to become familiar with is the JWST Observer website. So here we have news articles, we have links to the calls here, proposal planning toolbox, tools from the community, approved programs, science publications, and any events that are coming up. So this is another one that would be good to, kind of go and navigate around and see what's available there. And a lot of the links that I share here today are available on this page. So those are the two main resources for as far as web pages go that I would get familiar with. We also have a JWST Pocket Guide. This is a PDF that has a top-level summary of all of the science instrument capabilities. So I'm highlighting the MIRI page here, so you can see you can find a quick overview of the observing modes, the field of view, the brightness limits, filter transmission profiles. This is all going to be on there for each instrument and each mode. And you can kind of get a quick overview to determine, okay, what instrument do I want to use and what modes do I want to use to best help my my science goals. There, you can also explore the approved programs that have been approved in past cycles. This is for all GEO, joint, DDT, and calibration proposals. Those are all available on the JWST Observer page, so you can search them through there by, category, or if you already have the PID, the program ID, you can search that on the program information tool, and you can get specific information on that approved program, such as the public PDF and the APT file. So that might help you figure out, where you want to go with these. And then also there's example science programs for each instrument. So I'm highlighting the NIRCam instrument here. This is on JDocs. There's a table you can find here of example science programs for imaging, GRISM time series, coronography, wide field slitless. You can find all of these here for all the different instruments in JDocs, and you can browse those and kind of see if you can model yours after something that's been successful in the past. There are some Cycle 6 instrument updates. I won't be going into these in detail today, but I have put the table up so you can review it to see if anything that is on here you are interested in. And if you are, I would really encourage you to join the JWebbinar next week on August 20th. They will explain all of these in detail and tell you the new capabilities and give you updates on things that came out in Cycle 5. So the one I will highlight here is the new Super Stripe mode that's available for NearCam and NearSpec and is also available in Nearest. And this is just going to significantly enhance your bright limits without saturation. So that's key for Cycle 6. And then MIRI will also have some new capabilities as far as subarrays and readout patterns and things like that. So take a look at that and then please join the JWebbinar next week if you're interested in learning more. And then finally, now you've selected your target and your instrument and mode that you want. What you're going to do next is use the mass duplicate observation tool to search for any duplicates that are existing or planned observation that haven't happened yet. So once you do that, if you do see that your target has already been observed, then it is your responsibility to make sure that it follows the JWST duplication policy so that if it is a target that's been observed, maybe it hasn't been observed in the exact same way. So please review those policies after you've done your duplicate observation search. And then another resource you might find helpful is to look at the recent refereed publications using the science publications page on the JWST Observer site. Okay, now we're into the second chunk. So that means you've identified your targets, your instruments, your modes, what you want to do. My next step would be to use the JWST, which is the JWST Interactive Sensitivity Tool. This works as a quick look tool before you would go into the ETC to quickly explore the initial exposure time estimates. So that's a good first place to start. And then possibly use the JWST backgrounds tool to estimate the impact of the background and the schedulability of your observations. So that's kind of the next place I would go, is to use these two tools. And then after you've done that for your initial estimates, use the exposure time calculator to determine the exact parameters and be able to craft the fine details of your proposal. And Joe Filipazza will be giving the talk on the updates to the ETC in Cycle 6, but I do want to give some, quick tips here is to watch previous JWebinars that we've had on the ETC. There's training videos available. There's really great documentation, known issues pages, and you can follow up with that if you're brand new to the ETC. So those are the tools that I think are essential for everyone to use regardless of your specific science case, but there are a lot of other JWST tools that will help you save time as you investigate your proposal options for very specific cases. For instance, not everybody's going to be using coronography, but if you are, you should use that target visibility tool. There's the NearSpec observation visualization tool. If you're doing NearCam, this cycle, you will need to make sure you use the rogue path planning tool. In the past, that was done during the program review, but you are required to do that to make sure that you won't have those clause artifacts in your observations. The JWST Pure Parallel Python package that Rebecca mentioned, and then there's also the exoplanet characterization toolkit. So I would say, once you've figured out that, go look at that list of other software tools that are available to you, just to make sure you're not missing anything and help save you a lot of time and effort as you're preparing your proposal. There are also tools that aren't supported by STSCI but might be really useful for you. There's the laboratory astrophysics resources that are linked on the JWST Observer pages, and we also have a curated list of tools developed by the community. So these help not only in proposal planning, but in data processing analysis. So I encourage you to look at those tools as well, especially during this feasibility check phase. And once you've specified those exact parameters, now it's time to move on to the APT. And Carla will be giving the updates of what's new in Cycle 6, but there are also lots of training examples and video tutorials to help you get started. And there's specialized tools in APT, for instance, the NearSpec MSA planning tool that will be coming up. And there is a new release coming out, and the update will be required for users. And I think Carla will talk more about that. So that's kind of the last final chunk that you will be going through and using these resources. This is an iterative process. So likely you'll be, going back and forth to JDocs and then to ETC and then going back and looking it up, then going into APT and maybe rechecking things in ETC and of course writing, and all of that is going to be iterative before you are finally ready to submit your proposal. I just want to highlight here that we're available throughout that entire process for you. The main way to get support is direct support from us is through the JWST help desk. So you can submit a question here at any time and we will provide an answer within 2 business days, if not sooner. You can also find ETC and APT announcements there for the new releases and the release notes. And then alert banners will be on this page as needed, especially closer to the deadline. If there's a problem with any, loading issues with ETC or APT, you can come to the help desk, see if there's a banner. If not, please let us know any troubles that you're having so that we can help you through that if you're struggling. We also have live help with the experts. So this is when you can call in from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on the second and fourth Thursday of each month. And we have a dedicated group of instrument experts there and then other experts as needed. So as Rebecca mentioned, on the 27th, so that's the second Thursday of this month, we'll have a dedicated time for Q&As for the other white paper call. But we always have experts there, and we have breakout rooms, and you can chat with people one-on-one and share your screen and have that direct interaction. So if that appeals to you and having that type of interaction, that's the way that you can get that through us. Of course, you know about JWebinars because you're here in this JWebinar, but we do have a great archive of all of the recordings and the materials and the slides that are in here. We have them all categorized by instruments, by modes, by proposal preparation tools. So please look at the JWebinars page and look for those. All of those recordings are also on the JWST Observer page on YouTube. They are a little bit you might be able to find the JWebinar that you want easier, but on the JWebinar page, but they're all here. And then also we have some courses for ETC and APT training videos as well on the YouTube page. So make sure to access those. So those are ways that you can reach out to us. We also would like to reach out to you via our JWST Observer News subscriber emailing list. So this is where we're sending any proposal-related news and updates. We send information about these JWebinar sessions. We have instrument updates, pipeline updates throughout the year. And this is kind of, if I would recommend one emailing list to subscribe to, it would be this one. So you can use that QR code or the link when these go live and subscribe to the JWST Observer.